The Art of Seduction. It kind of makes you think of like, I don't know, some cheesy spy movie, right?
Right.
But what if I told you it's really more about just, well, being you? Like
Yeah.
really you. Get ready to toss out that pickup artist playbook
Oh, yeah.
because we're about to dive into a podcast that totally flips the script on seduction. It's all about, get this, real connection.
I love that. And what I found so interesting about this podcast is it really zeroes in on like self-respect and confidence.
Mm.
Like those are the foundations of attraction, not all the like games and tricks.
It's like you can't pour from an empty cup, right?
Exactly.
If you don't even think you're worth it, how can you expect someone else to?
Right. That's so true. It's like recognizing your own value and then just letting that, radiate out.
Okay, I like that. Radiate it out. But how do we go from like inner confidence to, actually talking to someone, especially when you've got those butterflies?
It's interesting because the podcast, it actually uses this metaphor of flirting being like a playful dance.
Okay, I like that. Less like wrestling match, more like a tango.
Ooh, tango. I like
It
it.
should feel natural, fun, spontaneous even.
Easier said than done sometimes,
It's
right?
definitely. But that's why, the podcast really emphasizes like sincerity. So like take compliments. Instead of just throwing out any old flattery, try to find something you genuinely appreciate and then express it thoughtfully.
Oh, so like instead of you look nice, maybe it's that color looks incredible on you. It makes your eyes pop.
Yeah, exactly.
Subtle, but like impactful.
Right. Because it shows you're actually paying attention and people, they pick up on that.
And that actually reminds me, there's this other part about the power of eye contact.
Oh, yeah.
They even went as far as calling it like a silent conversation, which sounds, I don't know, kind of romantic and intimidating at the same time.
It's true. It's like this unspoken thing,
Yeah. When you can hold someone's gaze and you're comfortable with it, that conveys confidence and interest.
Mm.
Haven't you ever like felt drawn to someone just by how they looked at you?
100%.
Yeah.
It's like they see you.
Yes.
Really see you.
And that feeling of being seen, I think, is really powerful.
Totally.
But, it actually goes way beyond just the eyes. Like, our whole bodies are talking all the time.
Yeah.
So being mindful of that body language is huge, according to this podcast.
So you're saying like uncross your arms, make eye contact, maybe a little touch on the arm if the vibe is right.
Yeah. Like, think about creating an open presence, and being approachable.
Approach people.
Yeah. So the podcast, they talk about respectful touch, like always with consent, obviously.
The chorus.
And keeping a comfortable distance, too.
Finding that balance, respecting boundaries, which actually is something I kind of wanted to dig into a little bit more because this podcast had a very interesting take on boundaries, didn't they?
Yeah, they did. It's like, it's not just about that physical space,
Right.
It's about emotional boundaries, too. Okay, now that is interesting because I feel like, we're always told to put ourselves out there, be vulnerable, all that.
Mm.
But it sounds like this podcast is saying, hold on a second.
There's definitely a smarter way to approach it, yeah.
So walk me through it. What's this like smarter approach to vulnerability then?
Well, they had this idea, and it's kind of funny, but imagine like an onion.
Okay.
Like you don't just like whack someone with the whole onion at once, right?
No.
It's about those layers.
Okay. Layers, got it.
Like you're getting to know someone, and instead of just dumping all your deepest, darkest secrets right away, you share a little bit.
Yeah.
See how they react. See if they offer something back.
Gauge it out.
Exactly. It's about building that trust slowly, not just overwhelming someone,
Makes sense. So it's more of a like slow burn then.
Yeah.
Exactly. Like that dance we were talking about, but on a deeper level.
Okay.
Move a little closer, then maybe back off a little. Let the anticipation build.
Ooh, anticipation. I like that. Which reminds me, this podcast also talked about like mystery. And at first I was like, wait a minute, isn't that kind of manipulative?
Yeah, it's easy to see it that way, isn't it?
Yeah.
But they made a really good distinction
Okay.
between like manufactured mystery, playing games, versus the mystery that just naturally exists when you're like first getting to know someone.
So it's not about like trying to be someone you're not. It's more about letting things unfold in their own time.
Exactly. And they even had a specific technique, it's a little spicy, called tease and withdraw.
Okay, tease and withdraw. All right, break that down for me because that sounds like it could go wrong really fast.
I know, right?
Yeah.
But think about it like this. You're having a good conversation, maybe some flirting, and just when things are getting, really good, You back off a little.
Yeah.
Maybe change the subject. Excuse yourself for a minute.
Okay, I'm starting to see it. So it's less about playing hard to get and more about like keeping things interesting.
Yeah, like those little sparks, keeps the other person wanting more, but not in like a manipulative way.
Yeah, because I think that's the key, right? You want them wanting more, but not because you're playing games.
For sure. And the thing is, it can work in any situation, really.
Oh, really?
Yeah. First date, you've been together for years, it doesn't matter.
Interesting.
It's about that spark.
It's like that saying, right? Familiarity breeds
Contempt.
Yeah, exactly. Not that we want that, but a little mystery never hurts.
Totally, totally.
Hmm.
And, this all ties back to something really important that the podcast talked about, and that's knowing your worth.
Ooh. Okay, yes. Because you can be confident, you can flirt, but if you don't actually value yourself,
Yeah, it's all for nothing. It is. It is.
you'll end up in the wrong situations.
And this podcast, they didn't shy away from that at all, did they?
No, they did not. Like, not every connection is going to work out.
Right.
Gotta know when to walk away.
See ya.
Exactly.
And that takes, what do we say, self-respect.
Yes. And that actually
Yeah.
brings us back to those emotional boundaries we talked about earlier.
Ooh, connect the dots.
Yeah, you gotta have that self-respect to set those boundaries in the first place.
Right. Because you deserve to be treated well. That's the bottom line.
100%. And sometimes walking away. That is the sexiest thing you can do.
Ooh, I like that. So we're not talking about tricks. We're talking about a whole different approach.
It's about empowerment, authenticity, the real deal. Okay, this has been, like, eye-opening, but there's one thing I gotta ask about. How does all this art of seduction stuff work in, like, the real world? We're talking dating apps, texting, all that. Does any of this even apply anymore? You're actually hitting on something. Because this podcast, they actually spend a good chunk of time talking about, like, how to navigate dating apps and all that.
Yeah.
Because it's like, how do you even, like, translate those vibes, that confidence, through a screen?
It's so true. And it's funny because it's like we have all these ways to connect now
Right.
more than ever. But it sometimes feels like actual connection is like harder to find.
It's true. It's like all those hacks, they've almost, like, created this whole new rule book.
Yeah.
And maybe even new anxieties.
Totally. Like, are you saying the right thing?
Right.
Using the right filter?
Yeah.
All that.
Yeah,
Like that.
exactly. Oh my gosh, the filters. Okay, but so what do they say? Because I've totally been guilty of, like, overthinking every single word I type.
Oh, me too. But they said a lot of the same principles actually apply. Like, remember how we talked about being genuine with compliments?
Yeah.
Same deal online.
So instead of just, like, liking every photo,
Yeah.
actually leave a thoughtful comment.
Yes. It shows you're really seeing them,
Yeah,
Which in the online world can be, like, huge.
it's true. Okay, what about that tease and withdraw? How do you even, like, do that over text without sounding like, I don't know, shady?
It's tricky, for sure. And the podcast actually said, like, don't take that one too literally in the digital world.
Okay.
But that idea of, like, creating a little anticipation
Yeah.
still applies. Like, don't blow up their phone every 5
Right,
seconds,
here.
you know?
Give them a chance to miss you a little
Yeah,
bit.
exactly.
Okay.
Okay. That makes sense.
And, on that note, like, have your own life. It's attractive.
That's so true. Because if you're always just waiting by the phone,
Yeah.
it's like, how interesting can you be?
Right.
Exactly. And I think it gets to that bigger point of, like, seduction, online, offline. It's about energy,
Yeah.
that confidence that you're
Yeah.
being genuine,
Yeah.
that you value yourself, and that draws people in. And part of that is knowing when to step back, let them come to you.
Find that balance.
Exactly.
This has been amazing. I feel like I need to, like, rethink my whole strategy now,
Right.
but in a good way. Like, it's not about playing a part. It's about being yourself.
Yes.
Yeah.
Letting your, like, real self shine through.
Sure.
That's what's really attractive.
100%. So I guess, like, the takeaway here is whether you meet someone online or, out in the real world,
Yeah.
the most important thing is just being you. Your best you, obviously.
Of course.
But keeping it real. And, hey, maybe putting your phone down every once in a while.
Little mystery goes a long way.